We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
Swing of the miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Well, welcome in. This is the Drunk on Broad, Drunk on the Birds, and this is the home of your two-time Super Bowl champions. Joe, I'm gonna let our historian Chase Utley bring us in.
World champions. World fucking champions.
Let's fucking go. It was. Well, let's just call it what it is. This is the belt to ass episode. It was, and I cannot wait. Rich is gonna take off his Chiefs uniform and join us. He's reffing little kids basketball games, but he's gonna come in and join us, and I can't wait because Joe, if there was any one of the three of us that had absolutely no reservation at all, Rich was talking about the belt to ass tour. As soon as that Commanders game ended, and Joe, 90 plus points in the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl combined. Like this team just dominated from the start, was focused, dialed in. I sent you some of the mic'd up stuff that came out last night and that whole behind the scenes stuff. And you really got a deeper glimpse into how dominant this team was and how focused and how locked in. And man, it was incredible to watch. A little bit different than the last couple times they've played, right? The last two previous Super Bowls were both 3-point games. Going in like they're a lot closer. They're all one-score games going into those final minutes. Joe, it was 40-6 at one point,
with 3 minutes left.
And the only time that they put up points after that was because Sidney Brown and Tristan McCollum and the rest of the second team guys were getting meaningful reps in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And Joe, to cap it off, Kenny Pickett gets a kneel down. Kenny Pickett has more Super Bowl snaps than I don't know, Lamar Jackson. Than
Josh Allen,
Justin
Herbert, Dak Prescott.
I mean, Joe, we're gonna spend the next hour, whatever, waxing poetically about this team. But talk to me about the game. Talk to me about how the game went down for you. And then we'll get into some exciting moments.
Yeah, I mean, right from the jump. I mean, KC wins the toss. They defer and they give they gave the ball to the Eagles. you're still trying to figure yourself out in the beginning and see what's going to work and what doesn't work. You had the little fade down the sideline to Brown, and you're like, oh, first down, and then they're like, oh no pass interference, and it's like,
Joe,
what's
right
going
away.
on here? What's going on? This better not be what I think it is.
Joe, right
But
away. I'm
they
sure we
adjusted
weren't
to it.
alone in the Delaware Valley talking about we're playing the refs today.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we thought we were looking at the beginning, but just they've got to give the ball back to the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs, I think they had one that was their only first down of the first half. They never got the ball past midfield.
Joe, they didn't get the ball past midfield until there were 2.5 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yep.
Like they didn't take a snap on the Eagles side of the field until 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
Like that's absolutely insane.
It is. It's just like you can't. It's hard to even process that in your head. You're thinking it's gonna be a back and forth game. It's gonna come down to maybe the last possession. The Chiefs are gonna work their Chiefs magic, but they were completely out of the game. I mean, it's 7-0. On the tush push, Jahan Dotson comes up huge with that catch down the sideline. He's a big part of the game. You knew the Chiefs were going to try to do whatever they could to limit Saquon,
Mhm.
which they did. They did a really good job of. I mean, but he still came up with first downs. He still came up with that great catch down there at the sideline to give him first and goal. But I think the Eagles went in with the game plan knowing that they were going to have to make plays in the passing game, and they didn't shy away from it. They embraced it. Jalen was on point with all of his throws except for the one errant throw. But that's the thing there. That's where it's like they turn the ball over there, and it's a prime opportunity for the Chiefs to do what the Chiefs do, and they went 1, 2, 3 and out. They couldn't sustain anything. And that pass rush, the Eagles' pass rush, without having the blitz, was just historical. The
And Joe,
amount of pressure that they got, the hurries they got on Mahomes, and they were able to get home with just a 4-man rush. And him getting hit and him getting sacked early, he was seeing good.
and Joe, we talked. This is something we talked about, right? Like the comparing the attack of the game when they play Tampa, and he's same thing, right? Trouble. They got issues on the offensive line. They get him on the move constantly, and you heard Brady talking about it, like never able to get his feet set, constantly under pressure. They never let him breathe. They never let him have a moment where he could sit back and pick you apart. And the craziest thing, Joe, right? They don't blitz, right? They get all of that pressure. They get 6 sacks with just the front four. And the craziest thing, I heard who was it? Baldy. Baldy was talking about they didn't even stunt. They weren't doing any tackle twists. They weren't, running, Josh Sweat inside so that, Jalen Carter could run outside. No, it was literally just like
Line up on your man. Yep.
And Joe, the clips from Baldy, the clips from Fran Duffy, the clips from, like there's a whole pile of people who are putting out these. They manhandled the Chiefs offensive line. Like they bullied them. Like straight bullied them. Like the one play that I saw break down from Fran Duffy, then there's a guy that's pulling and he runs into Nolan Smith. And we saw Nolan Smith do this in the Packers game in the wild card. He absolutely stops the dude in his tracks and blows up the play. And they just manhandled. That offensive line had no chance. And it showed, right? It showed because Patrick Mahomes couldn't get set, couldn't do anything, couldn't do what he wanted to do, and really never gave himself the opportunity. Like they never gave him the opportunity to get anything started. Right. And you heard the clips on the sidelines, right? Oh, we just need one, right? We just need to break something, right? They couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything.
Yep.
And like, so you go into you start the second quarter, you're up 10, like you're up 7-0, right? You get the Jake Elliott field goal. The Cooper DeJean pick six, right? Because that is where, like, they complete a pass, right? And they have the opportunity to be able to drive down, right? And make it a field goal game, right? Make it a one-score game. DeJean, man, he makes an incredible play, cuts back in front of the play, right? And then you saw the punt returner stuff kick in so quickly. And he makes like such a spectacular play. And to me, that's where the game really turned.
Sure.
Right? Because you took that game from what could have been a 1 or 2 score game, depending on how the rest of that possession runs out. And now it's a 3-score game. And it's a 3-score game with 7 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yep.
And now you got them on their heels. And at that point, I'm still worried going, all right, because I know that they're going to get another possession before half. And I know they're going to get the ball back at the end of at the start of the second half. And they have the opportunity to be able to flip the field, really, right? You saw it. You saw it with the Xavier Worthy pass a lot later in the game when the game was already in the bag and you're playing against the backups. But like you saw them be able to put, points on the board pretty quickly. And to be able to go 17, right? And that sequence of like being able to turn that from from 10-0 to 17-0, we'll talk to me about that play. And because I'm screaming at the TV. I'm running up and down.
Dude.
It was wild.
It was, Mahomes is able to scramble and buy some time, and he's looking downfield. And I don't know if he saw Coop. I don't know if he thought that he was going to undercut and get back into his vision in that passing lane. But he, like I said, he was seeing ghosts. He was rushing plays. His footwork was off. He was completely out of sorts. He was not, the Patrick Mahomes of, the week before or really all season and what we've seen in the past. But for him to make that play, to undercut that pass, to take the angle that he did and to actually score on that play, I mean, that had to be, if you were a Chiefs player or you were Patrick Mahomes, you had to be like, oh man, that immense doubt and feeling of, we're in trouble. They were leaking oil, and it was, they were, that ship was starting to sink. That had to be, their mentality. So it's, I don't know if that was the play that broke them, but it certainly was that one or the next play by Holmes.
Yeah, listen, I got the play. We can watch it again, man. You're talking about Mahomes scrambling out, right? And you see DeJean come back to the ball. That ball's supposed to go to DeAndre Hopkins, right? And cuts all the way back across the field, gets a couple of great blocks, and just that one of the more iconic pictures. I don't know if you saw it, there was somebody superimposed the LeBron Dwayne Wade picture.
Yeah,
with Cooper DeJean, right? And it looks
yeah.
it looks pretty damn close.
Yeah.
But between him and Oren Burks, but and then Joe, that was the start of like a really 3-play sequence that starts with that interception, right? Because then they kick the ball off, and Kansas City's got the ball inside the 10.
Yep.
And then you get Zach Bond, right?
Josh
And then Zach,
Sweat.
right?
Josh Sweat.
Because talk about Josh Sweat on that play.
Yeah, it's having the happy feet, not being set, not being feeling, you're feeling out of sorts. You're not comfortable. You're not able to have your feet underneath you. And I think he was set and he was ready and he was delivering that ball, but Josh Sweat was just it was just bully. It was bully ball. He's bullies the lineman right back into Patrick Mahomes, so he can't step into the. You could see his body. That pass gets interrupted by his lineman being pushed back into him, and that's why that ball comes up short. Also, too, Zach Bond has to have the presence of mind that I'm going to have to reach and dive for this ball and have my hands secure so the ball doesn't touch the ground. And he was able to do that. But that play, that whole sequence is started by our relentless, pass rush that just came after them from the beginning of the game all the way to the end of the game.
I mean, he makes a great play, right? And he's running one way, dives back the other way, makes a great catch, and then the Eagles turn around and score on the next play, right? That's the AJ Brown crosser,
a crossing route,
and really cool play design to be able to put him in what a great position to just go make a play, right? Run across the field, run AJ through traffic, right? And be able to get him the ball on the other end. And he runs right in untouched. And at that point, right now, you're talking 24. At that point, now you're talking 24-0 going into halftime.
And you're like,
holy shit!
Is this
I'm literally walking around going, "Is this for real? Like, are we really?"
And then it's like, all right, guys, keep the same mentality coming out of the half.
Yeah,
and the Chiefs are going to be coming. And you probably saw this and seen it online or on TV. They were talking. I think I just saw it today. That formation and that setup for that crosser to AJ Brown was actually it was kind of a busted play because they weren't lined up correctly.
Oh, I did. You know what? I did see that.
They weren't apparently their formation wasn't what it was supposed to be,
right?
Because of the way the route combinations, and the positioning of the players. But hey, you would have never known.
No, not at all. And it's wild. It's wild to see that you have that opportunity, right, to go into halftime, and I think at one point, Joe, the stat that I saw flash up, which was one of the more wild stats, was like at one point in time, the Eagles had more first downs than the Chiefs had plays.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Chiefs at one point, by the time the Chiefs had ran their 10th play, the Eagles already had 10 first downs.
That's just,
and Joe, to be honest, even going into halftime, they left a lot of points on the board. Right? Like if that first possession you don't get the Bobo call. Now, listen, I know they get the makeup call with Dallas Goedert. Like they get that on the next possession because that was kind of ticky-tack too. But like you left even the Jake Elliott field goal, right? Like you left a lot of points on the board too. Like they easily, Joe,
50.
Easily could have hung 50 on them.
Yes.
And it's just absolutely right. So all right. So going into halftime, they know that it's going to be a really extended halftime. We know that the conversations are about the Patriots have done it before. That they have the offensive firepower to be able to get possessions and score quickly, and then they just don't. They get
the same stuff.
The onslaught from the defense was just relentless. And you saw that. You saw that, right? I'm pretty sure they go that first possession right after halftime, right? They go 3 and out. Eagles get the ball. They go down, kick a field goal. Right now you're up
27.
Right, you're up 27, right? And then there's this next sequence. Talk to me about the defensive play to get the ball back, and then the Devontae Smith 46-yard pass from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and that was the same sequence. Was that with Milton Williams? Yeah, I mean, what you couldn't have written a better play and play design and execution on that particular. It was like Brandon Graham-esque plus we're gonna smack you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Milton Williams beats his guy. He's loading up to take a shot and, smacks that arm, rips that arm, the ball comes out, and then here comes Baby Rhino with the the left hook, right to the grill,
Yeah,
and no flag.
it's
You're waiting
wild.
for them to take him. I was waiting for them to have him get ejected or something like that. But that was just that was really it.
Yeah.
When talking about the next play coming with that shot to Devontae, that was the dagger shot. And I was just watching that clip today about how they were, Kellen and Nick were talking about that play. That was a designed run play. They're talking about it on TV. Let's run some clock. Let's eat some clock. Let's try to shorten this game. And they were basically like, no, we're gonna switch this play. We're gonna check this play into a pass because they
Right.
knew, the Chiefs were coming up. They're stacking the box, and if that as that play unfolded, you could see them do the play action,
Mm-hmm.
sucks everybody up, and Devontae's got the one matchup. And how many times have we watched that replay? How many
Yeah.
times have we watched that in slow motion?
Joe,
Um,
100 more, 200 more,
the route that he
300
ran,
more.
he's running against, I think he's probably the third corner. That guy was getting torched all day,
Yeah.
and it was just he dropped it in the bucket. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was just a perfect, the bow on the gift on Christmas morning. That was it. They hit that. They were loading up for that play. They hit that play, and it was a kill. It was a kill shot.
Yeah. And Jeff,
Was it. That was sayonara. That was the mic drop moment of the night.
and forgive me, Joe. I got so excited, I got the whole sequencing wrong. Right, that touchdown comes off of the Avonte Maddox 4th and 3.
That's right.
Right, like they get the ball back at midfield, but like, what a great play from a guy who had he gets benched after week 4,
Yep.
after the bye, for a rookie, and the rookie play and DeJean plays out of his mind. Avonte Maddox had every reason to check out, and he's on the field on a 4th and 3 and makes an incredible play. Right at that point, they're up 27-0, and he jumps that route on 4th and 3, which would have been like an easy first down. Right, and I mean, the play that Devontae Smith makes on that ball, and the play that Jalen Hurts, right, and if I can give the Chiefs any credit for anything, they did a great job at taking away Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
I mean, they made that their mission, that Saquon Barkley was not going to win this game for them. But they forgot that they have all pros all over the field.
Yep.
And this is the stuff that we talked about all season long. Like, this is not new news. We've talked about, like, pick your poison. You want to stop Saquon? AJ and Devontae. You want to stop AJ and Devontae? We got Saquon. You want to take away the deep ball? They got the ball to Saquon in the flat, right? You saw the play early, or late in the second quarter, right? The wheel route from Saquon where he catches the ball falling down right near the goal line.
Yep.
Like, they figured out a way to get their stars the ball. It was absolutely incredible to see, right? And it was great, especially Devontae. It was great to see him be able to have that moment, right? He catches the ball in a very similar spot to where he caught that ball in the Superdome to win the national championship for Alabama. And a guy, Joe, who also was okay being the second option, right? He knew that, he's here. He knows AJ's number one. He's okay being number two because he knows he's the best. He's the best number two, and he'd be a number one anywhere else.
Right.
Like, this season is full of guys that knew what the mission was. And
right.
every decision that they made, right? How many times did we see Saquon Barkley on the sidelines? Let the young guys eat, right? Let the other kids get snaps, right? Letting, records or not, right? And he breaks in this game, he ends with like 70 something yards, right?
Yep.
But breaks the regular season and playoff combined rushing record. It's just incredible. It was just incredible to see. The Milton Williams sack later, late in the fourth quarter, or late, was that in the fourth quarter, third quarter? I mean, they end up kicking a field goal. Talk about Jake Elliott, because there were a lot of questions about Jake Elliott going into this game, and rightfully so. He had been very, very, very inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, and if there was ever a situation or a place for him to have a get right game, was kicking in a dome. They get the touchdown, they score the extra point, and I think once he hit that field goal to put them up 10-0, I think he was in a good spot, and I think he also too. He fed off how the offense was playing, and he fed off how dominant the defense was. So I think everybody took that and it really added to their confidence. I mean, I think all of his kicks, I don't think any of them really were in a question whether they were an extra point or field goal. He was locked in, he was on point, and he had his best. It's crazy that he picked the Super Bowl to have the best game of the season, but also too, I think look at our defense. I mean, our defense was awesome and clicking all year.
Mm-hmm.
After we were 2-2, but they picked that they picked the Super Bowl to play their best game. And, uh, you know, in the secondary, linebacker, pass rush, like that was one of the best defensive performances I've ever seen. And I think I can honestly say, from what I can remember and whatever I've seen, I think that's the best Philadelphia sports team that was able to actually win a championship. I think that's the best team that I've seen do that.
Joe, I would tell you that's the best season of any team that I've ever watched. I mean, they were dominant all year long. Even in the even in the beginning of the season, Joe, this team legitimately should have lost one game. They were two incomplete passes away from being a one-loss team.
Yeah.
And
only one team where they, whether it was we didn't show up or they just dominated. There was only one game that was not in reach, and it was that Tampa game.
Other than that Tampa game, right? And I'm gonna, Joe, I gotta eat a lot of crow, because I will tell you, after that Tampa game, I was the guy on the Drunk on Broad social accounts going fire Sirianni into the sun, like because it looked awful. And for him to be able to have the command of the room and lead this team and fall into that CEO coach role, man, he just did an incredible job, right? And he let the guys lead, right? And you let Jalen Hurts be himself. And Jalen, the conviction of Jalen Hurts is one that I haven't seen before, man. He knows what he wants. Every decision that he makes is with that one thing in mind. And you heard some of the stuff that he said, even like post game, about still keeping the one of the clips of him talking about not counting anything until that clock hits zero,
Yep.
right? Because he knows that anything can happen, and he knows the pain of that first loss and being that close. Don't want to feel that again.
Yep.
So like the leadership up and down. Joe, talk to me about the offensive line, because the offensive line played incredible in this game.
They really did. They,
You
we
never heard Chris
we
Jones' name.
wound up with 135 yards rushing on the day. That included, Hurt. We haven't even really had a chance to talk about that. But the fact that I think Jalen was sacked, was it once or twice? I think it was only once. But I think it was just once. But they picked up the blitz. They were all in the right lanes. Chris Jones was. They didn't even. I don't even think they mentioned his name the whole game, other than when he got upset when DeAndre Hopkins dropped the ball and he put his head on the ground. But the communication between that line, the ability for them to give Jalen a clean pocket, give him lanes to run when he needed to run to pick up those back-breaking first downs. It was just great to see because it's what they had done, all year. But it was great to see them do that. Pass the way that they pass blocked, and Jalen was precise, and quick with his decision. The ball was where it needed to be the whole game. But the offensive line is the best offensive line in football. Your running back, set the all-time record for rushing, and that Saquon's is a world-class talent, and he makes it that much easier. But the guys up front are giving him all of those lanes to run through. Game in and game out. And it was just a mentality. Bully. They didn't care who they played. They didn't care if they were playing the Chiefs. They were going to take that belt to the ass. And that's what they did.
I mean, listen, Chris Jones had the same amount of tackles as you and I. So if you want to talk about the being able to neutralize their best player, I mean, that offense legit did whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, however they wanted. It was incredible. And like, I mean, you could go up and down, with statistics. None of the statistics really mean anything, because at one point in the fourth quarter, it was 40-6. Like it was never a game. It was like
it really wasn't. I mean,
it was. I mean, it was an absolute snooze fest.
Yep.
And you could see that it took everything out of the Chiefs.
Their body language.
Their body language in the second quarter was
even
bad.
in the second quarter, between Travis was getting popped after hits, getting up, talking smack. He's going up and pushing Jordan Davis, who's 6'6", 340. It's like, really, is that what you want to do, man? You could just tell that they were out of sorts, and they were like, "Wow, holy shit, we haven't had to deal with this the whole season. Nobody has given us, nobody's taken taken us out to the woodshed. That at any point during the year, I mean, they're playing the Bills, and the Bills, the Bills were running the ball, and they actually were doing well against the Chiefs, and then they stopped running the ball, and
Mm-hmm.
they felt like they started to press, they started to get nervous, and they lost the game because they didn't play their kind of ball. They didn't continue to play their kind of ball.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, that's, it's the Chiefs, and they're just going to roll into the Super Bowl, and they're going to do the same thing, and it's going to have the 3 peat. But what they didn't realize was how we were built this year and how we have been playing this year. They didn't see this team 2 years ago with, I mean, yeah, they shut us down in the run game, but they they didn't see, and they weren't prepared for what they had coming their way in this game as compared to that Super Bowl 2 years ago.
It's really the truth, right? When you look at how, like, everybody, all the pundits leading up to this game, it was it was a lot of but they had a great season. Yeah, but they got Mahomes. Yeah, but they got Andy Reid. Like, I really feel like the people that stopped and looked at the tape, it was indisputable. Right? To go back to a guy that we've already talked about, Baldy. I remember listening to Baldy talking to he was on one of the PHLY shows talking about they're going to be 4-0. Like, and said it before the Green Bay game with like more conviction than I've said most anything in my life. And that's a guy who watches tape, right? When you break it down and you really look at how these games play out, man, this team was top to bottom the more talented team, and it showed from the jump. And you know, couldn't be happier for like BG gets on the field. BG gets to play in what I could only venture to guess is probably his last game, right? It would not surprise me if he's up on the podium at the art museum tomorrow and is like, because he's a wildly emotional guy.
Yep.
That like, what, Joe, could you imagine a better send off than like your last moments with the team are on the art museum after the parade down Broad Street in front of a million people? Like, I
You
mean,
couldn't write it any better.
his Joe, and a guy that had a very tumultuous start to his career, right? A lot of people talking about Earl Thomas, and they made a mistake, and he couldn't get on the field. And
Yep.
two-time Super Bowl champ, All Pro, Pro Bowler, multi-time year captain, 76 and a half career sacks, which is third in team history. He's the longest tenured player in team history, 15
Wow.
seasons.
Yeah.
Right? Like what a great send off for him. And I could not be happier, right? That he gets that opportunity to be able to get back on the field and get an opportunity. And he made some great plays. I love that he was out there talking shit though.
Oh, that's
I mean,
BG.
and he would have been talking shit even if
If
he
he
wasn't
wasn't
playing.
playing,
But the fact that he was out there talking his stuff, man, was absolutely incredible.
that's what he does, man. That's what he does. And thinking back to what the week leading up to what was the Steelers game, and all that stuff came out where he, you know, kind of went over the line and kind of aired out their dirty laundry, and what's going on? Is it Jalen? Is it AJ? Is it both of them? Is this being blown out of proportion, or is there like an elephant in the room where there's some big time trouble? We didn't know. We didn't know which way things were gonna go. We didn't know what was really going on behind the scenes, and it was like, was it did BG flip up, or did BG do that on purpose to see what this team was made of?
It's true.
Because I mean that whole story and situation and whatever it was, that it could have sunk the team like we sunk last year when we started out so hot and just fell right off a cliff. So it was, soul searching. It was tough conversations, and I think that's what carried this team to, they bonded together. They played for each other. They really played for as a team. They really loved each other. You could tell that because
That's
of
a
that whole
that's a
situation
15-year vet move.
and how they responded that week, the following week, and really the rest of the season. Um, and then obviously now we're going to a parade tomorrow
Yeah.
after Super Bowl victory. So it you can't say enough when you're building a team, when you're looking at a team, when the coach says, we need to, we win as a team, we lose as a team, and you're not great without the greatness of others. Well,
I
I mean,
love it.
this is a prime example of that. Like, how could you not want to buy in, or why would you not want to be a part of something like that? Where, look, it really happens when you buy in and you play with each other.
It's the truth. It's the truth, right? And no surprise that Hurts is the MVP, right? He's got 200 plus passing yards, 70 plus rush yards. He's got multiple passing touchdowns. He's got a rushing touchdown. Completion percentage over 75. Average 10 plus yards per attempt, right? Like played absolutely lights out, right? And you look at, we got plenty of time in the offseason, but like the Eagles scored 145 points during the postseason.
Yeah. Number one all time.
They had a 70 plus point differential, Joe. Like when the lights got bright, this team shined. Like they shined so bright. Like it's a it's not a wonder that it played out the way that it did. It really isn't. Joe, can I play you a clip from Rich Eisen? Did you hear the Rich Eisen?
I did.
Can I play this? This is 2 minutes long, but it is
It's so
it's absolutely worth
yeah. It's so it
every
couldn't have been more
every
on
penny.
point.
I'm
Good.
gonna play this.
Go for it.
This clip from Rich Eisen is absolutely
Spot on.
wonderful,
Yeah.
and it completely embodies, Joe, everything we're talking about.
Yep. For some reason, I can't hear it. Can you hear me now?
Hold on, Joey. Were you not able to hear it?
I couldn't.
Ow,
I
that's
could hear
technical.
it, and
All
then I
right,
don't think you could hear me ask you if you could hear me.
that's all right. It's technical
So good.
difficulties, but anyway, the main message of all that was like this should not have been a surprise to anybody. If this was a surprise to you, I'm not sure why. Because everything and everyone leading up to everything from what happened in this game, none of it should have been a surprise.
Yeah.
This team did exactly what they've been doing all year long, which is absolutely manhandle and berate every team that stepped in front of them.
13-1 turnover differential in the play. Plus 12. And that was the most sacked Patrick Mahomes ever was sacked, I think, in his whole career.
Yeah.
Not even just playoffs. I don't think he's ever been sacked 6 times in a game before this game.
Joe, I think you could argue, right? I know that they lost that Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. I think you could make an argument that in these 2 Super Bowls where the Chiefs and Eagles have matched up, Jalen Hurts has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in both of those
Both
games.
Not close.
Like not even close. Turn the tape on, watch the tape. I think you turn the tape on and you look at both of them play. He outplayed him in both of those games.
The Super Bowl that we lost, they gave up 38 points in that. Sacks are nice, but making teams go 3 and out and keeping teams, from scoring 38 points. I mean, that wasn't a championship style defense. This was a world-class historical championship style defense. What we saw this past Sunday. And the fact that the second half defense in that game was completely invisible. The pass rush was completely invisible that game. And you saw what happened when we weren't getting home. We were getting shredded. That if you had placed that scenario in the game this past week, our pass rush got home, but that secondary and our linebacking core for this year, our secondary was light years better than what we had to offer when we lost the game to them 2 years ago. So, and look at the run game. If you take all that out of the equation, if you have Saquon Barkley in that Super Bowl rather than Miles Sanders, you probably still blow them out because they're going to kill you in both ways. You had the A.J. Brown and the Goddard and the Devontae Smith in that game, but Miles Sanders in that Super Bowl and even Kenny Gainwell, even though Sanders was the starter, Miles Sanders had trouble with ball security in that game, and he spent a lot of time on the bench for that whole game. They had 46 yards rushing in that game, and they were completely one-dimensional team.
Yeah, and Joe, I think the one of the mic'd up clips about there was a conversation between Hurts and Barkley towards the end of the game where they're talking. He's like he's describing him as like being the missing piece and really looking at how what Saquon Barkley unlocked for an already prolific offense. And but the conversation goes back and forth, and it kind of ends with them both saying like we needed each other.
Yeah.
And it really does truly embody the team, right? Look at a guy like Oren Burks. Right? Oren Burks steps in for Nakobe Dean when Nakobe Dean's having his best year ever, right? And comes in late in the season. But Joe, Oren Burks in the playoffs, 25 tackles, 12 stops, 3 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack. No penalties.
Yep.
He played 95% of the defensive snaps in the playoffs.
Phenomenal.
Like, he did his job. He came in and did exactly what he was supposed to do. It's just it's just an incredible cap to Joe. I'm kind of pissed that the season's over. Like, I want this team to go out and play again. Like, I want to see. Like, I got the game on the DVR. I know that I'll go back and watch that thing like 157 times. Season. I'll watch the mic'd up thing a whole bunch. I'm sure that there's going to be other behind the scenes things, but like it's it really was just like an embodiment of this team and all up and down the line. Now, Joe, here's some other stuff. You ready for this?
Yeah, shoot.
You got elite young defensive players.
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean, 22. Quinion Mitchell, 23. Jalen Carter, Jalix Hunt, Mora Jomo, 23.
No.
Nolan Smith, N'Kobe Dean, 24. Jordan Davis is 25. Reed Blankenship is 25. Like, Quinion Mitchell in the playoffs, right? Faces Matt Stafford, Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, and Patrick Mahomes.
And gives up one jump touchdown.
70 touchdowns, 17 targets, 8 receptions, 46 yards.
Yeah.
2
and
interceptions.
A touchdown when they were down by
right? He gets 2 interceptions
34 points
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he does, right? He gives up the one garbage time touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins. Whatever. At that point, Joe, I would argue he probably shouldn't have even been in the game.
That's very true.
Right? The game was so out of hand at that point. But like it was the whole team, Joe.
It was. And it was such a breath of fresh air. Especially, as the third quarter started to tick on, the Chiefs continued to get back 3 outs. And it's like, wow, this game isn't going to come down to a last possession or do we need to score late? Do we need to make a stop late? And every game and every playoff and every championship, it seems like it always did in any sport in Philadelphia. For our lifetime, for as long as we can remember, and it was so nice to not have to pull my hair out and lose 10 years off my life at the end of 20, probably, it being a Super Bowl or a championship. This time around, it was just different, Don. It was just different. It was so nice to see. It was such a breath of fresh air to go in and beat a Hall of Fame head coach who's been there and has won for years, and a Hall of Fame quarterback who's just they're going for a three-peat, and they're just dominant team and a dominant juggernaut. And for us to go in there and do what we did from the first quarter to the fourth quarter was just poetic, and it was such a great thing to see, be a part of, and to feel.
Oh my God, it was incredible, right? And oh God, Joe, I probably have like 200 pictures that I saved on my phone as I'm scrolling on social media, and and I have like these grand plans to like do something with them. I don't know what it is, but like the iconic pictures, the pictures of Jalen Hurts post game, right? The picture of him sitting with the trophy with the cigar, the pictures on the stage looking at the trophy, pictures of guys with the guys with their families. The one that hit me in the feels was Trot Jr.
That was so cool, yeah.
And for them to have that moment, Jordan Mailata with his family and all those guys to have that moment. Saquon Barkley, the one that my daughter sent me was the video of Saquon Barkley with his kids, and his daughter comes up with the hat with the little bird on the top.
Yeah.
He's like, "Look, Daddy, look at my hat."
Yeah.
And it's so funny, Joe, because like in that moment, he's a dad, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no context that like he just won a Super Bowl for the first time ever in his career and just ended like an epically like historical season. And she's like, "Look, Daddy, look at my hat."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, that's such a cool hat." Like it was so cool to see all those guys all have that redemption arc, all hit all at the same time. Right? Cooper DeJean gets the pick six, his first ever career interception on his birthday in the Super Bowl. Like, it's just, God, Joe.
He can't even grow facial hair.
Oh my god!
It's
Like,
just you can't. It's wild, and it's wild to see. How he has hit in the past with the draft and free agency, but to hit at the level that he hit, and to have young players like Cooper and Mitchell come in, and when they were anointed starters, and they stayed as starters, and they played at that level. They played at that level in the regular season and the playoffs, and the moment wasn't too big for them.
no,
They didn't have any hiccups. They didn't take any step backs once they got to the bigger the stage and the bigger the moment and the Super Bowl. I mean, Coop, Coop could have froze up and dropped that pass that Mahomes
yeah,
threw, but he took it in, and he knew what to do, and he had his wits about him to go down there and score. But it's just it's such a great situation and a great feeling, and you can never doubt a guy like Howie Roseman ever again.
no, Joe. You could argue that he hit on between free agency and the draft, hit
This is
on
the best ever.
almost everybody except number 0,
Yeah,
who
number
was
the
a
number of
healthy
snaps he
scratch
played
and
Sunday.
didn't dress for the Super Bowl,
Yeah,
right? But like even a guy like Jalix Hunt, right? Jalix Hunt
forced
flashed,
to play.
like flashed in the Super Bowl, like
Yep,
made
and a
plays.
sack
Like
and
he
pressures.
took Jalix Hunt. I'll never forget this, Joe. I was watching. Jalix Hunt took Joe Tooney by the shoulder pads, like by the chest plate, and literally ran him back into Patrick Mahomes.
Yep,
Like that dude was playing safety at Cornell
2
two
years
years
ago.
ago.
Right.
Like it really was everybody. Everybody contributed. Everybody did their job, and now it's going to end on a parade on Broad Street
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm gonna give me 2 seconds, Joe. I'm gonna pull the parade route up. We can talk about it, right? The parade is gonna start at the stadium, right? It's gonna start on they're gonna make a right and go down Broad Street down to City Hall. They're gonna go City Hall to the Parkway. And then it's gonna end. They're thinking it's going to start around 11. They think they're going to get to the art museum. The speeches are going to start around 2.
Yeah.
What I would tell people, Joe, tomorrow is all about going down and celebrating. Have fun. Be
Don't do anything
smart.
stupid.
Don't do anything stupid. Don't rip
Please don't
anything
climb shit.
down. Don't destroy anything.
Don't
Like
break shit. Don't climb shit.
yeah, just go down. Just go have fun.
Peaceful.
Embrace it. Enjoy it. Like you're gonna share this moment with a thousand with
Million.
hundreds of thousands
Yep.
and millions of people that all feel the same way you do.
Yep.
They're all wildly passionate about this team. Like, have so much fun. And that's all I don't want to like I love the fact that this is the celebratory moment. The I don't condone, people going down and ripping down light poles and destroying property. Like, go down, have fun, enjoy it, embrace it, have fun. But really excited. This one I'm going to be. The last time we went down, Joe, we went down with my brothers. We all went down with like a group of friends. We walked from the Please Touch Museum all the way to the Art Museum. This time we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to be down. My brothers and I, we're all taking our kids down. So we're going to have the kids down there, share that moment with them, and, start to raise the next generation of degenerate fans that are just going to live and die with this team. And, um, just embrace it and just have a ton of fun. What you're gonna you and your son are going down, Joe? Where are you guys
We're
going to
going
be?
down. And two of his friends, and I'm actually gonna have a conversation when we get off the air here, and see what they want to do, because, like I said earlier, I want to get down there. I'd love to see them at Broad and Patterson, but we're taking public transportation. My concern is if we get down there watch them with their send off, and then get back on the subway and get down to Jefferson Station and walk from Jefferson Station to the art museum. Is it like how close are we going to be able to get? So I might just say, hey guys, let's just leave early, get to Jefferson Station, and just get posted up at the Ben Franklin Parkway. At least we'll be close. We'll be right where right there where they're gonna pass
Yeah.
and set up and get up on the stage and do
Mhm.
their speeches. Uh, so
Joe, if I could give you some advice, don't make plans.
yeah,
Just live just go live in the moment.
well,
You
that's
know,
kind of what I did when they won the first time because
right.
it was like, it's a free for all with, good luck trying to call anybody, text anybody,
Oh
make
yeah, that's the other thing.
let's
Well,
meet at this place at this time and this and that, and then you're like, oh well, where are they? Well, okay, there's 90,000 people in this section that where I'm sitting here waiting for Bob, Jack, and Bill, and you're
yeah,
probably not going to see Bob, Jack, and Bill because you can't call Bob, Jack, or Bill. You can't text Bob, Jack, or Bill. You don't know where the hell they are. So it
no.
is what it is.
If you can't see them 3 inches from your face, you're probably not going to be able to talk to them. Your cell service is going to be terrible. Don't try to go live on Instagram.
Yeah, yep.
Like,
It's the drops,
like,
call, text doesn't go through, call drops. That's gonna message failed. That's all you're gonna see for until you get back on the train or you get back in your car and you start heading home.
right,
And you got to get crafty and thrifty and be aware of your surroundings when you have to use the restroom. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, folks.
yeah,
Because
no,
if you've ever saw you've never seen a porta potty line this long before in your whole life.
they were saying that they're that when I heard them talking about it on the radio, they said there's like 400 of them lined up on Pat's Avenue.
Yeah, yeah, and 10,000 people in line at each one of them.
For real. It's just going to be wild, right? But I'm excited about being able to have the opportunity now to share that moment with my son and my nieces and nephews and
It's all about, man.
and just again just share that moment with them. And we didn't get the chance to watch the game together, but really having that opportunity to be to share this memory with them and and look forward to putting a wonderful bow on a season that only one team gets to do. Until next year, Joe. Until next year, when
That's crazy to say, right? That's crazy.
it really is wild, and I think we'll connect on a bunch of on probably in the next couple of weeks to continue just to keep going back to it and recap it, and the NFL season is going to turn the page really quickly because the combine's going to be in a couple weeks. Then you're going to go from the combine to the draft to mini camp and then you're going to be right back in it. But Joe, the one thing that I will tell you, what are your thoughts? They're obviously, having been the Super Bowl champs, right? They're going to play that opening night, Thursday night. I'm going to give you the list of potential opponents.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, you have the three divisional home games. You got the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders, right? Commanders could be appetizing because it could be the NFC the rematch of the NFC Championship game. Then you're going to have the Bears, Lions, Rams. Rams could be interesting because that could be another rematch of a playoff game, which was a close, really good game. Broncos and Raiders. They're going to open the season with one of those 8 games. You got anyone? You got anyone?
It's probably going to be the Lions.
You think so?
Because social media and this Amon St. Brown came out and said something about oh well, if we were healthy and we had our whole defense, we want to see. And I think we would stack up, and I think we made something to the effect of we'd probably beat you guys if we had our guys on defense. So I think that I I could see it being Washington, but I don't know if they'd go divisional game that right off the bat like that. I think that they would probably want, and America might want to see, Philly, Detroit, um,
So
because they thought that that's
here's
what it
my
was going to
thought
be
on this,
anyway
Joe.
with the 1 and 2 match, uh, this season just now. So I think that I think that the league might want that. I think that might be where they wind up leaning.
Here's my thought on this. I don't think they're going to open the season with the divisional game at home.
No,
So that for me, that takes out the Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
yeah,
Everybody in America is going to watch that game, whatever that opening night is.
yeah,
That Eagles Lions game is going to be one that everybody's going to tune in for, regardless. I think that they save that for like Sunday night, Monday night, middle of the season. I don't think that they bring an AFC championship. I don't think they bring an AFC team in. I don't think it's the Broncos or the Raiders. I don't know if you heard the little quote from Shefty. By default, it might be the Bears. Ben Johnson, new coach.
yeah.
Caleb Williams, up and coming up and coming quarterback. I don't know. I think that some of those other ones are other marquee matchups that I think they know that they're going to get ratings on regardless.
Right.
So like that to me is like why would you use that Lions game when you know everybody's going to watch that game already? Why
put that out right away?
Right? Why spend? But then again, right? Both teams were in contention. Listen, Joe, we got all off season to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Who's staying? Who's going?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know Chris was asking us about, who's taking over for Kellen Moore. I think in the next couple of weeks when we kind of reconvene, we can talk free agents, we can talk, who's replacing Kellen Moore. We can talk about, draft and free agency and who they might be bringing in. There's plenty of time in the offseason to have that conversation. Tomorrow is all about the parade.
It's
all
a celebration, bitches.
It really is. Joe, I can't believe I almost forgot this.
I'm gonna be like Frank the Tank in Old School.
They're going streaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna get frostbite, but it might be
it'll be worth it.
Yeah, yeah, but with my son and his friends, so I don't know how well they're gonna take that.
Joe, they're gonna get to know you on a very, very different level.
Yeah, what's up with your dad?
Joe, who's your guy tomorrow to have a Kelsey-like moment?
Oh man, Kelsey-like moment.
Right, because Kelsey took that the moment that he stepped off that bus in the mummer's costume until the time that he gave that iconic speech, he had the entire Delaware Valley wrapped around his finger. Is there a guy tomorrow, speeches only, is there a guy tomorrow that has one of those speeches? You have a guy in mind?
I've got two guys in mind.
The heart.
I'm thinking it's one of the two. It will probably hit. I'm thinking Jordan Mailata or CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Ooh.
Who you have a guy in mind?
I think it might be Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Did you see the video of him in the post game party when he's singing "My Prerogative"?
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah.
He's a guy who is like we've seen some of the behind the scenes clips.
He's kept it bottled up. Yeah.
He's a pound the podium, speak from his heart, like not afraid to show emotion.
Very true.
I think it could be him, right? I think it, like I talked about it earlier, right? It could be, a guy like Brandon Graham who gives a very impassioned send off to himself, to kind of like a an ode to the fan base. But CJ Gardner-Johnson is not going to mince words, right? He had some advice for Travis Kelce about his choice of women. Stay with the thick ones.
Did he put that on and then pulled it?
Put it on and pulled it.
Oh man!
Oh God! Listen, it's
and
just
they
gonna
play
be
each other again. They play each other again in the regular
yeah.
season.
They're gonna play. Yeah, listen, they're gonna have they're gonna play. So their home games, just to recap for next year, right? They got their divisional games, and then they got the
Tough
Bears, Lions, Rams, Broncos, and Raiders at home, and then the road. They have 6 road games outside of their division. So they're going to play at Buffalo, at the Chargers, at the Chiefs, at the Bucks, at the Vikings, and at the Packers, along with Washington, New York, and Dallas.
Yeah.
So listen, Joe,
get rested up, Donnie.
you better get your popcorn ready,
Get your
folks.
popcorn.
You're gonna see a lot.
I'm gonna
You're
put
gonna
my ass in
experience
bed
a
soon
lot.
so I can get up early tomorrow.
All right, y'all. On the way out, go Birds. We'll see you on Broad Street.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Parade,
Super Bowl
baby.
champs.
Let's go.
World champs.
World champs.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
E-A-T-L